Good evening, everyone. We are calling to order the City Commission meeting of September 23rd, 2025. This evening, I am asking for a motion to include Commissioner Kanamos. He is ill, but he would like to join. So first of all, I'm going to ask you to a motion to approve that he can join, and secondly, that he can vote. Do I hear a motion?
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will put him on the line right now. Thank you.
Mayor, let me.
Vote.
Yeah. I hate this phone.
Hello?
Hey, Chris, it's Mayor Miller and the rest of the commission. We have just taken a vote that you can join by phone and also vote. So if you want to put the
Great,
phone,
thank
okay, you're welcome. If you want to put the phone on mute, and then if you need to talk, unmute it. So we're just going to get started with the roll call. Can you seem to hear us okay, Chris?
I can.
Okay, great. Sherry?
Mayor Miller? Here. Vice Mayor Politis?
Here.
Commissioner Card?
Here.
Commissioner Economos?
Here.
Commissioner Dembinski?
Here.
Okay, thank you very much. Reverend Bob. This is Reverend Bob from the Drive-In Christian Church. So glad to have you this evening.
Glad to be back with you. I invite you to stand as you're able and join me in this invocation. Gracious and loving God, on this day as we gather for the work of this City Commission, we pause to give thanks for the gift of this new season we find ourselves in. Autumn has arrived here in Florida, not always with the cooling breezes and falling leaves of other places, but with its own beauty. Promise of gentler days, the shifting of rhythms, and the anticipation of renewed community as our seasonal neighbors begin their journey back to us. We ask your blessing upon the safe travel and arrival of those snowbirds who will soon join us again, enriching the life of this city. In these times when violence and unrest weigh heavy on our nation and world, we turn to you as the source of calm and peace that surpasses our own understanding. Grant us hearts that remain steady, minds that seek wisdom, and spirits that work for the good of all. May Daytona Beach shores be a place where kindness, safety, and respect prevail. Guide the deliberations of this commission tonight. May their decisions serve the well-being of every resident and visitor, reflecting fairness, foresight, and compassion. We offer this prayer with hope and with gratitude for your abiding presence. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Bob. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Okay. And again, this will be our final reading for our trim process. So first of all, I'm going to ask Attorney Garrett to read Resolution 2025-16, final levying of ad valorem taxes for fiscal year 25-26. Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. This is resolution number 2025-16, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, adopting the final levying of ad valorem taxes for Volusia County for fiscal year 2025 through 2026, providing an effective date.
Thank you. Thank you. So please call up Resolution 2025-16 for fiscal year 2025. This is a final millage rate. This will be a public hearing. The city attorney has already read Resolution 2025 in its entirety. Finance Director, you have given us several background informations. Do you have any additional information for us?
Well, Madam Mayor, there's some things I have to give you. Sorry.
Fine.
It's based on statute. Sorry about that. Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Lori Irwin, Finance Director. Tonight, we are here for the to set the final millage rate. This is our final hearing. The proposed final millage rate of 4.5880 mils per thousand of assessed value. It's the same rate as last year. The rollback rate is 4.4529 mils, which would generate the same income as last year for the city. And the final rate of 4.5880 mils is a 3.03% increase over the rollback rate of 4.4529% or mils. Now, we have gone over this at a workshop in July 28th, and then we had our first hearing on September 8th, so this is our final hearing tonight. Again, just showing a little bit of our millage rate history, showing that we've actually been at this 4.5880 now for the past 3 years. This I know is something that you like to see. As you can see that Daytona Beach Shores will remain in the bottom 25% of the cities here in Volusia County for millage rate with a final rate of 4.5880 mils. This ends up being a monthly increase for your single-family home of $4.31 and for your condos of $3.36 over last year's rate. Also, this the total city budget is $97,447,400. This includes the general fund of $24,280,300, which includes $100,000 for the economic development fund. There's also a capital fund budget of $4,726,500. The enterprise fund, which is your sewer fund, that is the increase in our budget over last year, is $43,690,900. That's due to capital projects for our sewer infrastructure, and that includes $16,000 for the sewer impact. But as you can see there, the capital budget fund for the sewer fund is $24,749,700. Do you have any questions I can go over?
Well, we've gone over this several different times. Commissioner Dubinsky, I know you were on some of the calls remotely. Is there any questions you have on this?
No.
I think we're good, Director. Thank you. Okay. If there's no other questions, the public hearing is now open on the fiscal year 2025 millage rate. So again, just repeating what our director said, this hearing is to establish the final millage rate of 4.5880 mils, which is a 3.03% increase over the rollback rate of 4.4529 mils. Thank you for everything that you and your staff did. It was very refreshing to see that there was only 2 cities below us. So thank you for everything you do. I hope all of our residents would agree for this slight increase and everything that we get in the shores that makes life better. You know, this is a very reasonable. So thank you again. So I'm going to open this up to public comment right now. I do not have anyone that signed up to speak, but as always, is there any members of the public that wish to ask questions prior to our final millage rate adoption? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. So now I need a motion to accept Resolution 2025-16 for fiscal year 2025, our final millage rate.
I so move to accept 2025-16, the resolution.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, is there any further discussion, any questions? If not, Sherry, can you take the roll on this, please? Okay, and this passed 5-0. So after the adoption, I am now able to publicly say that our final operating millage rate is set at 4.5880 mills, which is a 3.03 over the rollback millage rate of 4.4529 mills. Thank you.
Hey, Mayor, can I interrupt?
Certainly.
How's Chris voting?
Chris, are you on your computer? He can vote from his
Oh, he can
computer.
vote from his-
Yeah, save.
Get out of here, really?
Well, yeah, because you can pull this
Wow.
up at, at home and whatever. and-
Well,
yeah.
see, something I didn't know.
Okay, he's
The
voting
wonders of
remotely.
technology.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions before I move on? Okay, if not, we're going to move on to item B, Resolution 2025-17. Please call up Resolution 2025-17 for fiscal year 2025-26, our final budget. This will be a public hearing, and Attorney Garrett, would you please read the resolution in its entirety?
Absolutely, Mayor. This is Resolution 2025-17, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, adopting the final operating budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 of $97,477,400, providing for appropriations and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. This also is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on fiscal year 2025-26 final budget? Finance Director?
Again, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Lori Irwin, Finance Director. As was written, this is our final budget hearing, and the total budget for the city is $97,447,400. This is actually a 59% increase in the paper over last year due to the enterprise fund, the project of the sewer infrastructure, which is mostly that $24,749,700 for the capital budget. The other thing I wanted to point out is that we will have a public hearing for our utility rate on October 7th at 6 p.m. And this is where, these are the rates that we will be setting. These are based on our service provider, the City of Port Orange, increasing their rates, processing rates to us. And then what we do is we have a CPI increase to our sewer rates to help pay for infrastructure in the future. And then our solid waste and recycling increases based on our contract with Waste Pro. And that, again, will be October 7th at 6 p.m.
And that is at our monthly commission meeting.
Correct. I just wanted to put out there, these are some of the transfers of funds that are going on for the general fund. We're having the public safety HVAC system for $800,000, fleet replacement of $585,000, public works building expansion of the $1.6 million, just for the public to see some of the, if they weren't here for the other, for the workshop on July 28th, or for for the first hearing on September 8th. And really, I guess the biggest one I really wanted to put out there is, this is what was in the paper. Just if anybody has any questions regarding the budget, you can see how the transfers out total $27.2 million, which is that big increase to the $97 million. This is just our revenue budget showing that 44% is our ad valorem taxes. You can also see that 12.5% are transfers from our fund balance there. These are expenditures by department. Public safety is 38%. You can see transfers out to capital are 16%. And then our sewer budget, you can see here that last year was 23 million, this year 43 million, and that is all due to that capital improvement.
There, I saw something there on beach access. So those are the ones that are owned by the city. Do you happen to know which ones in particular those are?
That one is St. Kitts.
Oh, so what we're gonna, all right.
Yeah, what we're doing there for the ADA accessible.
And where are we at on that project? Do you happen to know?
That would be something we'd have to ask.
Our community service
Community
director?
service director.
Manager? Sorry, Stuart. What phase are we at in that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. We're still in the design process. So we're hoping to, we've actually gotten comments from the Department of Environmental Protection, so we're working on the RAI response for them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to tell you, a couple weeks ago, the Director of Public Safety and the city manager and I had taken a little ride on the beach, and the back of Tuscany, whoever did that work did an excellent job. I mean, you cannot see any remains of what was there before. So I don't know if we had anything to do with it, they did, but it looked wonderful. Thank you. Do we have any questions for our, do you have more slides? I'm sorry. Okay.
They can have questions. This is just showing, the enterprise fund again, transfers are 53% out, all for the capital fund. And then I just have, if anybody had questions or wanted to know what was part of the capital improvement fund, because they weren't here, you can see information technology, public safety, car replacement, transportation. We had some storm drains, the EOC that we're looking, doing work for, that's partially funded. City Hall, 8C upgrades, hurricane shutters, security.
We're doing a lot.
We're doing a lot. Really, we are doing a lot here in the city in the next couple of years. We're very busy with projects, and a large portion of them are funded with grants.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And I know you work on that diligently, so we appreciate
We're
that.
continually looking for grants and applying for anything that we can.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And the sewer project. These are just projects for the next capital improvement budget for the next 5 years, because we look out that way. You can see that there's unfunded projects of $12.9 million, because we don't know at this point where that funding's coming from, but we are planning on applying for more grants. This is the slide I wanted the residents to really see, is that your tax bills will be coming out November 1st. You have until the 30th to get that 4% deduction of November. And then each month after that, you can see December 31st, you get a 3% reduction. In January 31st, it's a 2% deduction from your tax bill. February 28th, 1%. And it's in March when you actually have to pay the full.
Okay. And those go right to our Volusia County tax collector, and then it's dispersed to us, correct? So what questions do we have for our director? Seeing none, I
No
had...
questions.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Seeing none, I had opened up to public comment, and before I close that, is there anyone that has any public comment on Resolution 2025-17? not, I'm going to close that for public comment. So I'm now going to entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-17. This will be adopting the fiscal year Resolution 2025-26 for the final annual budget of $97,447,400.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on it before we take a vote?
May I make a comment, please?
Certainly.
Director Irwin and really the other people should be commended for her and her staff. We have had workshops and we've had opportunities to ask a lot of questions, which we did. So don't think that we're just sitting up here and we're just rubber stamping things. We went through it and we asked questions about grant money and what percentage it would fund all these capital expenditures. We went over budgets for fire and the department, for the police department. So I just want everyone to know, just because we don't ask a lot of questions here is because we've already gone through that questioning process through the workshop and through the prior opportunities that we've had to interact with Director Irwin. But these tidbits that you saw on the video on the teleprompter were just a really good idea of where the money comes in, where it's spent, the process we all go through this. So kudos again to a well-oiled machine, the way the city is run. So thank you for your presentation. And it makes our job as city commissioners a lot easier because, you know, to squeeze the money and still not raise the millage rate and accommodate that high level of quality of services that the citizens ask for, that's good, especially in this day and age when everything just goes up. So I wanted to thank you again and let everyone out in computer land know that, you know, we're not just a bunch of quiet ones up here. We actually ask a lot of questions, but we went through that process. So this is the finality, the formality, so to speak.
Thank you for that explanation. Yeah, it's like yes, 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 but you know, this is the second, third, fourth time that we've looked at this budget and asked questions line by line. So thank you for that explanation. Sure, can you put that up for a vote, please? Okay, and that passed 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next we are going to go on to, and this is a special presentation. So this is to Roseanne Tornatore for her service for the service of the Planning and Zoning Board. So we'll come down there and, Stuart, are you coming up to give this award, or am I? I guess I am. Well, come on, let's go down and give her this wonderful award. Chuck, can you join us too? So Chuck is a member of our, Planning and Zoning Board. So, and so she's served with him for many years. Roseanne?
No, good. You can say it.
All right, don't let me call everybody up. Come on, guys.
Oh, okay, we didn't know.
Oh, yeah, they want to see everyone for the presentations. They don't like when it's just the mayor. So Roseanne, for your many, many, many years service on this. I think it's 16. We are just so happy for all this service that you've given to the city and this work for many, many years. Chuck, if you want to come up.
I love this city.
I know you do. I know you do.
Don't make me cry, I'm gonna miss it.
Okay, all right.
But I'm the one who said it was time that the
Yeah.
youngsters had to take over.
Okay, all right, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great
Now I
job
can come
for
to
everything
these
you do.
meetings,
Yes.
because I was always nervous about coming to these meetings because I wanted my own opinion.
Oh,
with
okay,
the
but
planning
now,
board.
well, we love you coming, and then you have to
Thank
skip work to
Thank
go.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Very nice.
Stuart in here?
It's here. Louis,
Thank you. Can you take one of Roseanne's?
Now I can help Nancy.
I want to say one other thing about Roseanne, too. So Marilyn wasn't able to be here this evening, but we have a Ralph Wheeler Award that we give out every year. And Roseanne got it, was it last year that we gave, I surprised her. I said, just come to Coffee with the Mayor, I haven't seen you for a while, and she got that. So Marilyn was able to present that to her,
That's
so now
nice.
I'm sure you have many, many, many awards.
you all.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
I was honored.
Okay, next we have a letter of thanks from R.J. Longstreet Elementary, item B. Do I hear someone, is somebody going to present that?
You mentioned you were just going to read it.
Okay. All right, let me read this to you. You know, to refresh your memory, R.J. Longstreet School is the one that has the Kids for Art program, and we are a gold sponsor of that. And I can't tell you how grateful they are for us to have that. We bought several license plates that's helped their art department, and then we also give those out at Coffee with the Mayor. So that's like the grand prize of these art things. So I'm going to read it right now. So this went to dear Mayor Miller and Mr. Will Roberts, the tax collector. On behalf of students and staff at R.J. Longstreet Elementary, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude for your generous donation of funds to our art program. Your support plays a crucial role in enhancing the educational experience for our students and help us to provide the resources they need to soar. Your kindness is truly appreciated, and we are incredibly thankful for your commitment to support education in our community. The donation will go towards the purchase of necessary supplies to benefit pre-K through 5th grade students. We are fortunate to have people like you who believe in the power of education and are willing to invest in the future of our students. Your generosity will have a lasting impact on their learning journey. Once again, we are grateful for your support. We are proud to have you as part of our school community. With heartfelt thanks, Amy Richardson. She is the proud principal at R.J. Longstreet Elementary. So congratulations to everyone, because you supported us too. And if you ever have a chance, I know they have a reading program. There's a lot that they can do. This school is not right in Daytona Beach Shores, but we have adopted it. So please continue to do that. Thank you so much. Okay, next we are going to go on to the presentation of hurricane preparedness.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. A couple of meetings ago, I believe it was Vice Mayor Politis, asked staff to come give a brief overview of what we do to prepare for hurricane season. So tonight, myself, Community Services Director Cruz, and Public Safety Director Fowler will kind of give you a very high-level overview of what we do throughout the hurricane season. So June 1, really, we begin looking at hurricanes. So this is actually a screenshot, so I'm hoping this isn't appropriate timing, but there's a screenshot from NOAA yesterday. A lot of activity out there right now. I did look earlier. These seem to be turning northward. Hopefully that is the case. But this is where it all begins for staff. We start watching this. We're watching it, but so is the county EOC. They have folks that dive into this really deep, send us weather warnings about tropical storms or just bad weather if we're going to have a high wind event throughout this season as we get those hurricane storm events that come through, even things like high tide that we know, or king tides, they'll send us information about that. But this is where it all begins. We watch this regularly. During this season, I probably check this about every other day just to see what's out there. And you can too. This is all on NOAA's website. So really what happens is when something is happening like this, I'll usually just talk to each of the department heads and say, or sometimes if it's timed up with a department meeting, I'll say, hey, be watching NOAA and let's keep an eye on this storm. We'll start getting briefings from the county if it looks like something may happen. If it's coming, we'll begin daily staff meetings, like one time a day, whether it's just a phone call of staff, and we'll begin to talk about pre- and post-event plans. If we're at that point, we'll begin sandbag distribution for citizens and businesses. I think we're all very familiar after the last couple of years how that process works. I am happy to say we now have our sandbagging machine, but I'm hoping not to have to try it out. When we get far enough along, there's the city manager calls with all the cities in the Volusia County Emergency Operations Centers. The fire and police folks, I believe, do a separate call as well, but we get on every day with a phone call with county staff and talk about what everybody's doing, what type of event we think it is. Is it going to be a wind event, a rain event? What is everybody doing? We try and be consistent in messaging across all the cities and consistent with the county. So that's where we all talk about, hey, when are you going to shut down City Hall? Or when are you going to close operations? So all the cities try and talk about that. Nobody wants to be the first one to do it. Nobody wants to be the last one to do it. So we all try and coordinate that discussion. When we get far enough along, under our current policy, the city manager declares a local state of emergency. Usually we do that for a period of 7 days, and that can be extended as needed. And then we make a call at that point, as I said, when are we going to close city operations, and then hurricane operations begin. Staffing for the emergency, I have my full management team on hand throughout the storm. Community Services brings in essential employees. Public Safety brings in essential employees, and they'll kind of talk about that later. We have staff that stays in 3 different buildings in the city, City Hall, Public Works, and Public Safety. We do have staff that train and are assigned to report to the county EOC. I believe it's 3 people that we send out there, and they stay out there for the duration of the event. So during the storm, Public Safety converts to A/B shifts. They run 12-hour shifts, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And when winds hit a certain level, we stop responding to emergency calls. Once after the storm, once the wind slows back down, we go back out. There have been cases where we, I believe it was after Nicole, we got out on the streets, and the winds kicked back up, and we had to stop responding as well. Immediately, once that wind is at a level, Community Service starts clearing the streets so that our public safety crews can get around the city, and we can start to assess and do things like clear stormwater drains. And as accessible, our building officials and public safety begin assessing property for life safety issues. As able, the full Community Services crews will come in and continue to clean streets and clear parks and other things as quickly as we can to get as quickly back to normal as possible.
Kurt, before you go on that second to the bottom paragraph, so we had to, and I don't want to use the word condemn because that was wrong, declare some buildings unsafe. So is that our chief building official that makes that decision? Then again, we just let the people know there is no way we can mandatorily force them to leave. Is that correct? I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
There is, and I'm going to look to the chief to
Okay.
come up and kind of answer that, because we did evacuate quite a few properties last.
Actually, once the chief building official has determined that it is unsafe, statutorily, we could remove someone and charge them with staying there. We use our discretion there. We understand these are people's homes, and we have never gotten to the point where we've had to make a criminal case out of it.
And this was the activity that the sheriff sent several of his deputies to help us with?
Probably about 125 of us
They just-
had to help us with the evacuations when we were losing the seawalls and we had this severe erosion.
Okay, great, thank you.
And as part of this process, we have our other folks who have to go out and do a damage assessment. I think Stuart Cruz will talk about that in a little bit, but we have to report numbers as quickly as possible to the county so we can get a declaration for a presidential declaration, which opens FEMA money up to us. So the county wants that as quick as possible because they have to send it to the state, and then the state has to request the declaration from the federal government. And at this point, Director Cruz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Stuart Cruz, Community Services Director. So the city manager kind of stole most of my presentation already, but I'll go over some of the key activities that he didn't mention as part of his introduction. So typically, whenever there's a storm nearby, we initiate, Community Services Department, we initiate our hurricane preparedness plan, which includes operational planning and some other things. We essentially divvy out all the roles and responsibilities of all the staff members within the team, all the essential employees, and we also go over all the FEMA requirements. I know that's a plug for the finance director. FEMA is very important because a lot of the damages that happen locally, we try to get reimbursement for that, and if we don't follow the right procedure and protocol, FEMA may not give us that reimbursement that we so need. So in addition to that, and associated with FEMA to some extent, is a cataloging of all our city assets. We do this throughout the year. Whenever there's new construction or something is rehabilitated, we typically take pictures and videos of those assets. However, FEMA wants information that is essentially as new as possible. So we go out there and we try to get enough information, new information as possible in terms of taking pictures and identifying certain assets in terms of their vulnerability and what they currently look like so that we can get reimbursement if needed. All our equipments and vehicle, we typically cycle. Our generators, our bypass pumps, we cycle, we fuel them so that if there is a need for them after the storm or during the storm, we can go ahead and there's no issue. There's a smooth transition. And of course, our most important asset, which is our human capital, we need to ensure that they have proper PPE and equipment, and so we typically do a round check of all those different items so that whenever they're out there responding, they're safe and they can do the job that they need to do in an efficient and safe manner. We also mobilize all vehicles and equipment that we have. Some of our equipment is actually stored at different storage facilities throughout the city, and we basically bring them to a centralized location in different parts of the city so that whenever the all clear is given by the Public Safety Department, we can go out there and we can get the job done as quickly as possible. And of course, we work very closely with other departments within the city, including public safety, setting up barricades if needed by the bridge or whatever have you. In terms of the individual divisions within the Community Services Department, the streets, as you know, all the banners down the road, those are things that we typically have to remove. So we try to remove our banners or flags or anything else that could be destroyed by the storms. In addition to that, we also clear whatever stormwater infrastructure that we have because we know if those are not cleared, and this is something that we do monthly, by the way. So we don't wait until a storm comes along, but we clear all our infrastructure monthly as required by actually our CRS and our MPDS program. We also secure our electrical cabinets out there in the roads to ensure that whenever the wind comes, that they're not blown apart and create issues for our light system whenever we need those. The Parks Division, they secure everything on the property, on all these park properties as best as possible. So all the sunscreens that we have, all the sunshades that we have, all the umbrellas, anything that can become a missile or can become ripped or destroyed or whatever have you, we basically try to remove those and secure those as quickly as possible. We also lock all the gates, all the bathrooms, turn off the waters, power irrigation, because if there is an issue after the storm or during the storm and public safety has to respond, we don't want them to be endangering their lives. So we try to get rid and eliminate those hazards as best as possible. The Sewer Division secures all the lift stations that we have within the city, and they secure all their equipment as well. And most importantly, they also ready any kind of bypass pumps for mobilization. So if for some reason there's a generator issue, power issue, or the pumps just fail, we can use the bypass pumps to essentially move all that important things off all that important stuff off the island. The Building and Permitting Department or division typically contacts and visits sites. And when I say sites, I mean construction sites, to ensure that the contractors and the property owners are securing those sites, because we know how construction sites can be. They can have a myriad of different things that can become airborne missiles or debris that can cause damage to life and property. We also contact property owners and reschedule inspections so that no one's expecting us there in the middle of a storm. And the building official also surveys city buildings for potential safety concerns. The Building Maintenance Division secures all our city buildings. So all of our buildings essentially have shutters that could be installed, and so we typically try to get those installed. We try to batten and secure all vulnerable components, such as this beautiful building that we have here. We actually have some hanging lights on the outside, so we have to remove those, secure them, and any little thing like that. We basically have a checklist, and we go through the system, and we ensure that everything's secured as best as possible. The Code Enforcement and Planning Division, along with our city clerk, they actually do the damage assessment for us. As the city manager mentioned earlier, damage assessment is really important, because when we provide that information to the county, they can provide to the state and ultimately to the feds to release money and provide resources that is necessary to have us become, or to recover local communities that are impacted by the storm. So we basically do our damage assessment prep. There's actually a kit that we have, and we go over the checklist, and we ensure that we have all those things and we're ready to go as soon as the all clear is given. We also contact the property owners with vulnerable properties. I'm happy to say that there's less than a handful of properties in the shores that we consider vulnerable in terms of seawall, and there's a myriad of different reasons why some of those people have chosen to not do what most other people have done, which is basically construct a seawall or rebuild a seawall. But we basically contact them and we say, hey, do you need sandbags? Do you need trap bags? Do you need X, Y, and Z? What can we do to help? Unfortunately, some of these property owners are absentee landlords as well. So we have a list of and contact information of all these property owners, and we get in touch with them as soon as possible. We also remove illegal signage in our right-of-ways. As you probably know, those things can easily be blown out of the right-of-way, out of the ground, and they can impact not only pedestrians, but they can also impact staff and public servants as public safety officers as they're out there. So with that, I'll pass it on to Director Fowler. Thank you.
Good evening, Commission, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Mike Fowler, Public Safety Director. I'll go over some of the things that we do in advance of the storm. Initially, when hurricane season starts, we send out an advisory to all of our sworn officers and our essential personnel, letting them know to start their plan at home. So they make plans for their families, for their homes, for their pets, so that that's taken care of before a storm comes. They prepare to be here for up to 5 days in the event of a storm. So we start with our operational planning. We meet with staff once or twice a day, depending on how close we're getting to the storm. Bring in our essential folks and come up with what our plan's going to be. Our drone pilots deploy, and this takes quite a while, but they run the entire length of the beach and show all the seawalls. They get all of our beach walkovers and any other city facilities videotaped before the storm comes so that we can document that for our damage assessment. We communicate the potential hazards to property owners, and that varies depending on how much time we have before the storm. We've actually physically gone door to door and let people know that there's an evacuation order. We have gone and put flyers on doors, and then when it gets closer to the incident, we'll go around on our public address systems and announce that the evacuation is in order. We've manned our sandbag distribution site. City staff is there, but we've had some very unhappy non-residents show up and want to use our site in the past. I think all of you know that our fine officer back there, Officer Jackson, peeled off his vest and started loading sandbags for the elderly at the last one. So again, I thank him for that. Supply procurement. We order extra tires, obviously, when we're out there afterwards and when Public Works is out there afterwards and all the roofs have blown off and the other materials, we get a lot of flat tires. We try to get the last load of gasoline on the island. We fuel everything up and then top off the tanks, especially the diesel, because if we have to run off of our generator, that's where that's supplied. We also have to have food and drink for about 50 people. We plan for 3 to 5 days at that point. And then we convert our building over to have our staff stay there. Our operational activities starts with patrol. When we ask people to leave, or when the county asks people to leave through an order, we feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that their property is as safe as it can be while they're gone. So our patrol folks are out there aggressively stopping anybody who's really moving during the time of the storm or immediately thereafter. We help to man the Dunlawton Bridge. As you know, at 39 miles an hour, the bridge is shut down. We hard block the eastbound to keep people from coming over after they should. Those stay closed until they're inspected by the Department of Transportation. We set up checkpoints at the north and south city limits. We bring in other agencies to help us with that, but again, anybody who doesn't have a pass, we try to keep them out. And then at the last one, we had to help with the ALF evacuation. Afterwards, we go back and put the drones up and try to, as quickly as we possibly can, get a damage assessment through the air. We go around, cordon off dangerous areas and unsecured businesses. That, of course, was we had a lot of the properties who had lost their seawalls. Invariably, we'll have several fires after our hurricanes. It's happened in every single one of them. We do a daily survey of the damage to the properties and the beach erosion. As soon as we can get down there, we do what we can, but we also have our people from the top side go and see what they can evaluate. Enhanced patrols, again, I talked about that, to combat looters. And again, every one of these, we catch a looter. Somebody comes here and tries to take advantage of the properties that have been left vulnerable. And then we are the ones who take around FDEM and FEMA. We are the ones who drive them around. So with that, City Manager.
That was a great presentation.
Thank you. Just to wrap it up, one thing I did forget to mention is before the storm, we opened what we call our Community Information Center. And we actually use your old phone number, Chief, as our main number, and that's where everybody calls with questions. Each department will get questions, like people pick up their water bill, and that you call that number and call finance. But everybody's well-versed, works together, but when we close the city, we usually forward all the main numbers of each department to that CIC number, and then folks, we have different folks. It's been Lori, Nancy, Sherry, depending on who's doing what. People just step in and take those phone calls, and we keep that number going after the storm as well. So when we had to close all the buildings, that was a very popular number. We had it on our website. We also provide as much information as we can to the county for their website as well, and we do direct everybody to the county website. That way messaging stays the same. As you're aware, in the past there's been, well, the bridge is open, no, the bridge is closed. That's one of the big issues for us. So with that, if there's any questions, we'll take them. I just want to close my speech by saying these folks are well prepared. We've done it before, they can do it again. So if you have no other questions.
Any questions?
I thank you. Like I said, I had a couple of citizens that had asked, and I told them, I think they got it going on, but I'll ask, and sure enough, nice presentation. Thank you again.
So
I have a
much.
question.
Appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Card has a question.
And this is for you, Stuart. You mentioned that there was illegal signage, and I'm wondering what was the illegal signages that you're talking about?
Thank you. So those legal signage that I'm referring to are typically signage. They look like real estate signs, and they're placed in the right of way. They advertise anything from the garlic fair, not even on the garlic fair, realtors advertising an open house or something like that.
I'm glad you said that, because I know that that's something that our association puts out, that they're supposed to take their signs down. So, thank you.
Chief, I have a follow-up question. So I spoke with a resident last week, and I think it was at the north end of town when the lights went out, when the DOT lights went out, and there was a temporary sign, but how we're used to seeing a stop sign on our right side, it was in the middle, and I know you know about this. Can you tell us what lessons we've learned from that we'll do differently next time?
Sure. We had a discussion with staff. There's no requirement that there be a stop sign there, and we may be better off to not put any stop signs up there. Statute says that folks would have to stop when the lights are out. But we did determine that if we put out a stop sign, that we're going to put one there in the middle of the road and to the right, to the right side there. But again, I think the situation that we're talking about, I mentioned it, my folks are looking to stop anybody they possibly can who's out in violation of the curfew.
And I think this was at 2:15 in the morning.
2:15 in the morning. I don't think that our main concern was the not stopping at the stop sign, as evidenced by the fact that no citation or warning was issued.
Great. Thank you for that follow-up. Any other questions? Well, again, thank you very, very much for that presentation, and I can see there was a lot of lessons learned that you'll implement next time, so appreciate that. So next, we have our Vice Chair and our District 2, our very own Matt Reinhardt, that's going to give us an update on some of the county items. Matt?
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City staff. Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to come here. I was driving up this evening and just took notice, spent a few minutes. I'm always early. And I took a few minutes to stand outside, and I got to tell Stephanie we got to move up to this. It's just too gorgeous up here, it really is. But nonetheless, it is a beautiful area, and I always look forward to coming here, speaking to your group. I'm not just your Volusia County District 2 representative, but also your partner in building a stronger, resilient, and vibrant future for this community as well as all of Volusia County. Daytona Beach Shores is more than just a town within Volusia County. It's a close-knit community that blends the comfort of a retirement haven with the charm of family-friendly beachfront city. Tonight I want to update you on some special projects, several projects and initiatives that reflect how our commitment of working together for recovery, infrastructure, economic growth, and the quality of life. There we go. I don't need to point it up. Our coastline is one of the community's greatest assets, and protecting it remains a top priority. Using sand dredge from the Army Corps' project in Ponce Inlet to the North Sand Placement Project that began earlier this summer, south of the Sunglow Pier, and is steadily working its way to the North Jetty. If you remember, I believe I mentioned this before, how many millions of cubic yards of beach-compatible sand. We started with the idea of two projects, number one being the dredging of the entire intercoastal waterway, which would have given us 775,000 cubic yards. We later defined that it was over 900,000 cubic yards, which was great. And then we took another 550, we were planning on doing another 550,000 cubic yards for south in New Smyrna Beach that will come from Rattlesnake Island. In doing so, we had enough money left over that we were able to do yet a third dredging project, which will identify the shoal area, the shoals being close to your shoreline, where we can get another 2.1 million cubic yards of beach-compatible sand. Therefore, we'll be able to continue that project that we work southward from Sunglow Pier to go north of Sunglow Pier to the areas that are most vulnerable hit by that area. It's also important to note that the project is not gone or washed away as a result of the recent storm that we had or any of our king tides that we've been experiencing. These projects were designed so that added sand acts as a buffer If you've noticed, it's kind of piled up, so it does create that barrier and that buffer to help protect not just the shoreline, but the beachfront properties as well. While some of the sand shifts, it naturally redistributes between the dunes, what they call a swash zone. I have to find out what that term actually is. I was sitting there reading it, I said, I have no idea what a swash zone is. So nonetheless, and nearshore waters continue to provide storm protection. The North Sand project, this project is critical because our dunes are the first line of defense against the storm surge and coastal erosion. By rebuilding and reinforcing the dunes, we're not only protecting homes, businesses, and infrastructure along the shore, but also preserving the beach that drives our local economy and quality of life while restoring critical nesting habit lost during the 2022 hurricanes. Once the sand has been placed, the planting of sea oats, as you noticed here in the pictures, and those remained, those stayed. If you've taken the trip down to the beach, you've seen that. I was very quick to learn that I was a little worried about the king tides and how that would affect that, but they have stayed in place. I'll talk a little bit about this project later. We have some ideas when I get to my Second Chance initiative that we'll talk about being able to grow some more of this and be able to provide it for our shoreline as opposed to having to go out and buy it.
Yeah, Matt, you were exactly right. When I saw them, they were only about this big.
And now look at them.
We had our event at Krabby Joe's last Thursday, and we looked down, and they were still there and growing.
And growing, yes they are, and they do. They grow quick, so very, very pleased about that. Coastal feasibility study and the public engagement of sand placement is just one piece of the puzzle. We're also looking decades ahead. Another round of public meetings, we had the first round where we got public input on how they felt that we needed to best utilize our resources and the feasibility of our beach. Another round of those meetings will take place and will be announced very soon. The study itself was funded entirely by FDEP, Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and will help us design long-term, multi-generational coastal protection strategies and solutions that will stand the test of time, kind of an insurance policy for our beaches. I was asked that question up in the shores, what do you mean by insurance policy? Well, we're able to plan out 50 years ahead and being to better prepare for storms like we experienced. That to me is a testament of what these feasibility studies can do and provide. Unfortunately, you have to have the studies in order to get the money. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to have both the money that's coming as a result of the grant operation and being able to fund the feasibility study entirely with grant dollars as well. We're also hosting community meetings this fall that will give a chance to give more input on how future generations will enjoy the shores. We will be posting that materials online to provide an online form so that people can review them and submit their feedback at their convenience. Transform 386, that project has been going on. We did, everybody was familiar as a result of Hurricane Ian and Nicole, that received quite a bit of funding from HUD, Housing and Urban Development, to be able to fund that project and be able to rebuild some homes, help with some infrastructure, some mitigation projects that we've done. But then right after Milton, we received another allotment of money from HUD to coincide with the first batch, so that it will continue to keep that project going for some time. Right here in Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County has helped with major projects that are already moving forward through the federally funded project. The first focus is on sewer improvements north of Dunlawton Avenue that include waterproofing manholes, gravity sewer lines that are in need of repair. They're aging, they're old. The first focus is on those sewer improvements. By upgrading the infrastructure and developing a longer-term sewer asset management plan, we're not only addressing today's vulnerabilities, but also preparing for future challenges. The second project addresses the wastewater system along A1A and throughout the city. Crews will replace outdated sewer force mains that run along the barrier island, a system that, if we do not address it now, could threaten both environmental and public health. At the same time, the 12 owned city lift stations will be upgraded with newer emergency generators installed to ensure operations continue even when we face those power outages that you referred to earlier. These projects represent more than pipes and pumps. They're protecting neighborhoods, preventing environmental hazards, and ensuring Daytona Beach Shores has a reliable infrastructure it needs for decades to come. Countywide infrastructure, as you can see here, $460 million were secured for that project. The Transform 386, as a result of Transform 386, and advanced over 200 homeowner recovery projects. It allocated $67 million to infrastructure improvements across the county, and more is on the way. That includes stormwater retention, lift stations upgrades, wastewater treatment plant enhancements, many of which, if you notice, we in the county are not in the water business, just like you. A lot of our cities in unincorporated parts of Volusia County, we buy our water just like you do. From the city of Port Orange, we buy it from neighboring cities as well. We do have some facilities, and we did expand on some of those facilities as a result of some votes that we just took at the last council meeting, and more to come. But this is nice to know that we can help those areas that we do obtain the water from and maybe be able to discharge our sewage to as well to help them. Excuse me. In addition to the infrastructure planning, we're also just launched, this is what I referred to earlier, the Hurricane Milton Homeowner Recovery Program. The program provides options such as home repair and replacement reimbursement for completed repairs, voluntary property buyouts in high-risk flood areas, and match funding to Elevate Florida and FEMA mitigation grants. If you know someone that had their home damaged as a result of Hurricane Milton, have them refer to the Transform 386 folks. This one, Frank Rendon Park. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I just noticed in an email that we just received, did I go too far? Yes, I did. Sorry about that. There we go. Frank Rendon Park. An email that we just received from FEMA. When FEMA did some grant money, it was $37.1 million for the entire state of Florida. For projects such as this. Volusia County was awarded $1.7 million just for this, just to help with this project. That includes the, bear with me here, the sign damage, the seawall, it just keeps checking. I did not do this, I promise you. Okay, it isn't just about replacing what it was lost, it's about restoring the accessibility and the resilience as a beach, for your beachgoer experience. Crews will rebuild the storm-damaged pavilions, restore the pedestrian observation area overlooking the coastline, and install new coquina rock along the south end to bring back the natural buffer that once existed between the park and the ocean. We're also making sure the park is welcoming to everyone by constructing our new ADA ramp, accessible dune walkover. That is part of the 141 walkovers that the county currently has. When completed, Frank Rendon Park will once again serve as a vibrant community gathering place ready to be enjoyed by all residents, not just of the shores. Moving on. It just wants to go to that slide really bad.
Okay, you might as well.
I'm just going to leave it there. Maybe it's my hand that's hitting it. Working with our coastline properties, beyond parks, we're focused on strengthening access points that connect Community Beach. We also know our beach access points are critical, not just for residents and visitors, but for the overall health of the coastline. County staff is working directly with adjacent property owners to both the Beaufort and Florida Shores beach ramps to develop resilient solutions that better protect these areas against future storms. Just to expand on this a little bit, you notice that we just completed the project over by ISB, that ramp. Originally, I wanted to expand on this a little bit because it has to do with the access to the beach. Originally, that was supposed to be the second project. We were actually supposed to do the one on Silver Beach, that ramp first. However, FDOT kind of changed the rules on us when they wanted to do the improvements to International Speedway Boulevard and that access right near the beach, so we figured it would be a lot more cost effective. We don't want them damaging our stuff. If we would have done that ramp second, we didn't want to interfere and damage what they've already done at that, so we decided to switch those two projects. So we'll be starting very soon for the Silver Beach ramp, which was actually supposed to already be done. Park Volusia. Park Volusia Initiative, we're also close to wrapping up the first year of our new Park Volusia Initiative, which provides complimentary beach driving and off-beach parking to county-maintained lots to registered Volusia County residents. If they haven't yet done so, encourage your citizens to go to the www.parkvolusia.org to do so. It's relatively, well, the process is easier now. It wasn't, I'll be the first, full disclosure, it wasn't so easy for me, I'll be honest. And we had given that feedback to our staff, and we do subcontract this initiative out to another organization that helps us. They provide the vehicles for that do the observation part to register those tags. You're going to start seeing the implementation of more of the tag readers that will actually, I have mixed emotions about that. I love providing jobs for people. And some of those people that if you've gone to the beach, you become to know the individuals that work those booths on a regular basis. And I will kind of miss that. But I also understand technology and the reason for keeping costs down, that we have to go to those other types of resources. But you will start seeing some of those replace those booths. We'll have a little bit of both. Obviously, we'll have signage will be required so we can direct citizens of which access points will have the tag readers, and if they're not registered, to be able to go to the booth to be able to provide their access that way. There we go. Now, something I'm very, very excited about. I don't even need the notes for this. Our corrections, you know my experience, just a couple years with corrections prior to becoming elected. I spent a 30-year career in this field, retired as a warden in 2017. One of the things that always concerned me was the individuals, the recidivism rate that happened within Volusia County, seeing the same faces over and over again. I'd ask those individuals why, why you kept coming back, and many of them would say because they simply check that box that they've been arrested, not convicted, but just merely have been arrested. So we started a process along with the Port Orange South Daytona Chamber of Commerce, which I refer to as the Second Chance Initiative. And the Second Chance Initiative has kind of grown. The idea actually was going to be just a farm, an inmate farm. However, when I first got elected, our staffing levels at the jail were about 80 positions down. So we weren't able to do so. So I didn't want to sit on my hands. We wanted to keep see where we could take this program. So again, we partnered with that organization. We started a virtual welding program to where we can teach inmates how to weld. Doesn't certify them, but it actually puts them on the top of the list when they do get out of custody. They can go to Daytona State College and be able to complete that program. In doing so, that opened up the door for some other programs. As you see there in the bottom picture of the barbering program. Daytona State also partners with us again and donated 4 barbering chairs. We are going to expand from that program to start a cosmetology program for the female inmates. We have a forklift driving training course right now, and with our Amazon facility that just opened, I went and toured that today. I think that's vital. I think that will help out. They were very eager to get on board with this and start coming to our job fairs. We do those quarterly for the inmates. We've never done that. So there's a lot of exciting things that are happening, and as a result, the last meeting we had a 7-0 vote to go ahead and get started on that farm, which we will start in January. So I'm very excited about that. The farm, the first phase of which will be an in-ground farm. We've already started a hydroponics, and what I said I alluded to before about the sea oats. We have currently two greenhouses. I would like to see utilization of one of those greenhouses for the purpose of growing sea oats. We are using one right now to grow mangroves. Mangroves takes about a 3, 4, 5-year process. We want to use those to help protect the Indian River Lagoon, to be able to, that sustain some of the damage as a result of the storm as well, so we can regrow those and put that plant, those foliages back out there. And we will have some other sea native plants that we can grow and act and help as our buffer. Right now, we had to take some of that funding that we got from FIND to be able to purchase the sea oats. Those grants, as you know, aren't always available, and in the event that we have this issue come up again, we want to be able to replace what we may have lost or may lose as a result of storms, to be able to grow it ourselves at no cost to the taxpayer and no cost no cost to the taxpayer. I think that's simple to set them up. There we go. JetBlue, very excited about this. JetBlue is soaring back into Daytona Beach International Airport with 2 nonstop routes to JFK and Boston, and that service will begin December 4th, and tickets are on sale now. With JetBlue's addition, Daytona Beach International Airport now serves 5 commercial carriers, offering 11 nonstop destinations and seamless one-stop connections to cities across the county and across the globe. According to the study, FDOT, Daytona Beach's annual economic impact as a result of this was measured at $3.2 billion just in 2023. We kind of asked, there has been a lot of interest on the west side of the county for some flights to the Caribbean, and we do have a lot of individuals that have family members in Puerto Rico. So we are at least starting those conversations now with hopefully a nonstop flight to that location. There's nothing official about that yet, but I think it's exciting just to hear that.
You think it'll be with JetBlue or?
I think it's going to be with
Breeze?
JetBlue or Breeze. It could be one or the other. We're leaving that door open. So I don't think that we'll get it from the other carriers of Delta or the main carriers that we have, but I think we can with JetBlue or Breeze. Fiscal responsibility. Finally, a word about our fiscal stewardship. No matter how exciting a project is, it has to be financially sustainable. The council is in the process of developing our budget. As you know, we just finished it in the second and final reading. I'm proud to say that the general fund millage will remain flat also, and other rates will either stay flat or go to a rollback. There was some discussion about taking some of our other funds like ECHO and Forever to go to rollback. I don't see how we can do many of the projects that we want to do and go to a rollback rate, so we're going to keep those at flat. The issue that was voted in several years ago and extended for another 10 years or 20 years was approved to, it would not exceed 0.2% or 0.2 mils. We're going to keep it at that. We think we can fund many of those projects like our ballparks and things of that nature. Right now, I will tell you that in Volusia County, what we do with Volusia Forever, many of which people and the residents don't understand that, we currently have 38% of Volusia County is in conservation right now, much of which is as a result of Volusia and Florida Forever projects, and we're still growing. Our goal setting, we asked for at least 50% to be in conservation. We're well on our way, and if we can continue to purchase those properties, to do so, but it has to be adjacent to other properties. We can't have pieces all over the state or all over the county. But 38%, just to put it in perspective, is the size, it's bigger than Seminole County. So you can imagine taking Seminole County, plopping it into Volusia County, and expand that a little bit, and that's what we currently have in conservation, which is very, very exciting. I'm very excited, and thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'll take any questions that you may have with regards to that. I could go on and on. They gave me too many notes. I don't like that. So I'd rather speak from the heart than from the hip.
What questions do we have for our county council representative?
I don't have any questions, but thank you for coming, and what a nice presentation, a lot of information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Matt, when do you think that will start from Sunglow Pier going north? Is that like beginning of 2026?
It probably will. I know we're talking about the shoal area that we're talking about, probably will be, and because we'll be still continuing this project, and then we do have the Rattlesnake Island project that we have to do next. We did determine that we're going to use the same dredging company out of Jacksonville.
Like they did a
we
good
don't have
job.
to wait for one to leave and bring another back. It amazes me, and maybe somebody can explain that to me one day, with as much as we have sustained in damage on our shoreline, and we do this dredging project, the Army Corps of Engineers does it about every 5 to 6 years anyway. And normally they take that sand that they dredge out of the intercoastal for navigational purposes through the intercoastal, and they dump it in anywhere from 8 to 12 feet deep water out in the Atlantic Ocean. They have never ever changed their permit, and we were able to convince them to do so by giving us that sand to these vulnerable areas, especially here in Daytona Beach shores. So knowing that, it'd be nice to have a dredging company think about coming closer to Volusia County. So I think that they could do, I don't know, that's just me. But seeing what I've seen, I think that would be a great idea. But nonetheless, it's not my Not my circus, not my monkey.
Matt does a wonderful job of representing us, so we thank you very much for
Thank you
that.
very much.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
Appreciate it.
Not, thank you, Matt. Okay, next we are going to go on to the approval of the minutes. So this is our city commission minutes of September 8th, 2025. Do I hear a motion to accept those minutes as is?
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on those minutes from September 8th? If not, Sherry, can you take a vote, please? Okay, and the minutes passed 5-0. Thank you for that. Next, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. We have 3 items on our consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve that consent agenda?
I so move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All right, any discussion? Not, Sherry, can you take a roll, please? And that passed 5-0, thank you. Okay, next we're going to go on to new business. So Chris Conamos, our commissioner, is our representative on our Volusia Flagler Transportation Planning Committee, and he had talked to us about 6 months ago in April that they were looking for a commission-appointed 3 citizens. So normally I would have Chris take this over. I know it's a little bit hard with him being on the call, so I'm just going to read a little bit of a background on it. So on April 1st, 2025, at our city commission meeting, the commission appointed 3 citizens to serve on the Volusia Flagler TPO Citizens Advisory Committee. They were Karen Bullard, Vince Donvito, and Carol Sutherland. Their term was for 6 months. The first term is now ending, and the members who were to switch roles with a new regular member and alternates. It seems at this time, though, the 3 citizens are no longer able to fill their commitment to the committee. At the April 1st meeting, there was 1 other resident who has expressed interest in serving, but she was not appointed. Her name is Susan Zosner, and she is interested in the appointment if the commission so desires. So right now, I'm looking for a motion to put Susan on the Citizens Advisory Board. Do I hear a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll make that motion. And can I clarify something as well?
Certainly.
I did speak to Ms. Zaniser. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce her name. Well, I did not speak to her. We had played phone tag a couple times. So she was the only person I was not able to make contact with. She was not at the meeting when we actually appointed the folks. But I do understand she is interested because, again, she had left a voicemail or 2 for me. So I would be happy to have her on the Citizens Action Committee.
Okay, thank you.
Advisory.
Oh, thank you. So we have a motion from Commissioner Conamos. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Not, Sherry, can you take a vote on that, please?
Madam Mayor, can I just ask for what length of term would this be?
Chris, would this be a 6-month term? Or what term would it
Yes.
be?
Yeah, 6 months.
All right, so can you include that in the motion, please, Chris? Can you redo your motion? To appoint her
In the
for a
motion.
6-month?
To appoint Ms. Sanister for a 6-month term in the Citizens Advisory Committee.
Okay, thank you. So we have that,
Thank you.
and did we have a second?
I'll second it again.
Okay, seconded again.
As
and,
amended.
Thank you. And again, this is something we're going to be voting on, so I don't see anyone that wants to talk on this subject, but is there anyone else that has any other comment or might be interested in this committee? Okay, seeing none, Sherry will take the vote now, please.
And
That-
Madam Mayor, I'd like to thank Sherry as well for following up on that as well. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and she did do that when we were little, when we saw that 3 people didn't want to be back on. So I know
Yeah.
Susan, and Nancy Maddox knows her well, and she's always looking for an opportunity to serve the city. So I'm sure she was quite happy with this. So
Excellent.
that passed 5-0. So next we are going to move on. Thank you for that. Next, we're going to move on to our approval of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Chair, Commissioners, Nancy Maddox. Community Engagement Director. I'm very excited to present to you the first ever Shores Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And with us tonight is Brett Kazoyan. If you want to come on up. He's our principal in charge, project manager from Castle Bay Design Studio, and he's going to give you a short presentation.
Great, thank you so much. Welcome.
I'm Brett Kazoyan, principal of Castle Bay Design Studio. Castle Bay was also the consultant team leader on the Parks and Rec Master Plan effort. The master plan itself is nearly 200 pages in length and the result of over 600 hours of consultant team time. So we're not going to do a page turn here tonight and go through all the details. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet for you. I've got a few slides just to cover the high points. And like I said, I'll run through these fairly quickly and we can open up for any questions. The first slide here is basically just to cover the purpose of a Parks and Recreation Master Plan, the inherent value of a healthy Parks and Rec system within a community, as well as our process internally, which fits nicely into three primary efforts, which is research, public engagement, and the master plan development. Diving right into the master plan recommendations, which is chapter 4, it's the culmination of everything that you have in the master plan in front of you. Wanted to go over a few of the big points, the higher points within the master plan. Public feedback and public engagement was a huge part of what we did. We had a two-prong effort. So we had 2 public engagement meetings in mid-April, as well as a statistically valid needs assessment survey, which was a hard copy mailer sent out to every residence within the Shores. With those combined, across both of those public outreach efforts, the most common responses received for future park and facility improvement and development were furthering the tree planting program, more shade. Shade was king. I mean, if you were to ask me what's the one thing that came out of the public meetings, I pretty much heard from every resident was more shade, more shade, more shade. Number 2, multi-use hiking, biking, and walking trails. Building upon the success of the Shores Community Center, Performing Arts Theater, and regarding the programming, the 3 primary programming feedback elements we got were more cultural enrichment programs, an adult performing arts program, and more senior programs. A few additional points I wanted to include on this slide, which as the master plan developed became overwhelmingly apparent, were that within the future of the City of Daytona Beach Shores park system, it became overwhelmingly obvious that all roads lead to McElroy Park. You put McElroy Park in 5th gear in terms of facility upgrades, improvements, and programming. That is probably the biggest, the most juice for the squeeze. I mean, we can improve other little pockets and parks and beach crossovers and things like that throughout the city, but if you're going to focus on one area in the short and long term, McElroy Park is where all roads lead. The second one there, expanding on the success of the Shores Community Center with a community center expansion. Obviously, that's a long-term approach, but one of the primary feedback items we got through the needs assessment survey and the public meetings were that folks really wanted to build upon everything that's positive here. I didn't speak with a single individual that had anything even mediocre, let alone negative, to say about what the Shores Community Center offers to the community. So they would like to see if we could take a step forward with that as well, so I wanted to include that here. Also, an interesting thing that came out of the public meetings was some intracoastal water access. As you know, there's no current access. We've got a few things within the master plan, which I think are hard swings on how we may be able to accomplish that. But providing we've got great beaches here, but to bring the river to the sea, it would be great if we had one point of access for the public to the intracoastal waterway. And also establishing an urban trail network. That was something we heard repeatedly through both forms of public outreach. This is a table you're going to see in the Parks Master Plan. We felt like it was probably the most appropriate one to include here. What it's outlining is the top 4 high priority projects that the Master Plan is recommending. Obviously, as I said, McElroy Park being number 1, far and away number 1, I'll note. I'll get into that in some more detail here with the last slide. Number 2, an improvement to the St. Kitts Beach access. Third one, consideration for obtaining Sunset Park for the ICW access that I mentioned. And finally, the Daytona Beach Shores branded urban trail network. Each of these, if you go into the master plan in chapter 4, there's a full page for each of these, which outlines it in much more detail. Speaking to McElroy Park, since, as I've mentioned several times, McElroy, all roads lead to McElroy, what we wanted to do is, instead of drafting a master plan, like I said, that's 200 pages long, and it says McElroy is where the future success is at, and that's what you need to focus on, we wanted to be proactive and provide what the book reads without a master plan. It reads as though, well, you're talking about McElroy Park, but you're not really telling us what we should do. So what we decided to do was to create a conceptual master plan that we've included within the master plan. And what this does is, this is kind of a snapshot. If we had our druthers and a clean canvas, what would we do to McElroy to put it into fifth gear, as I mentioned earlier? And it's not that this is the direction, it's just one idea about how we could pursue that if we had our druthers. Number one, starting off the top there in the northeast corner, would obviously be the parcel where the existing Bank of America, the old Bank of America building sits. The idea is to acquire that parcel and turn it into a approximately 75 space parking lot. Currently, most of the facilities in the pickleball courts and the playground and the Van Alder Dog Park, most of those access ways are through the residential neighborhood to the south. That's not ideal, it's fine, but it's not ideal. Obviously, as we all know, to get anywhere north and south in Daytona Beach Shores, you're likely traveling on A1A. So it makes a ton of sense to have the primary parking facility directly off of A1A. So the acquisition of the Bank of America property, turning it into a parking lot to provide approximately 75 spaces. It would also be home to a dedicated food truck loop, which is right there adjacent to what's labeled as the Event Plaza and Flag Court, which is just east of the existing Shores Pavilion. Also on the backside, as you know, of the Shores Pavilion, there's currently just the standard set of typical staircase going down to the large green space there. What we're proposing is that instead of just traditional stairs, we double that as amphitheater style seating. At the base of that, we have a covered stage. We've realigned the perimeter walkway that currently goes around the large green area there to something a little bit more geometric, a little more aesthetically pleasing, something more conducive of a public park space, looks a little more purposeful. And then before we get into the pickleball there, over where just north of the public safety building in between the Event Plaza and the public safety, you'll see that that's the building that's currently occupied by the Express Care facility. Again, as I mentioned, we took some hard swings in the master plan, and this is one that it is going to take some strategery, but long term, if there's an ability to, when that lease does expire with that tenant, because as you know, that building is owned by Daytona Beach Shores, if you were able to acquire that, that really checks the box as far as what I mentioned earlier about a lot of folks really garnering for more community center space. That could be the first step in the right direction there. And just to the west of that, we've got the two-story community center expansion. There was a lot of thoughts about what could be contained within that, but it could both be facility-based and program-based. Over the pickleball courts, shade was huge whenever we had some of the plans up to some of the public. And we were talking about how they utilize McElroy Park, and as well as talking to folks who were playing pickleball when we did our facilities tour, everybody was screaming shade. The biggest thing we could do is shade. If we do nothing else, if we accomplish a little bit more shade out here, that's a home run. So what we've got here is that we're showing graphically is a fixed shade structure over those existing 8 pickleball courts. Castle Bay is currently doing something very similar over in DeLand right now. We're putting a pre-engineered metal building over the David E. Disney tennis courts that are being converted into a pickleball complex. We're having a lot of success with that. We found that financially it actually makes a ton of sense. And speaking with our structural engineers and architects that are on the job, I couldn't help but think that that project that's running parallel with this, I couldn't help but think of how that could apply here to the McElroy Park and check a lot of boxes for the folks that are desperate for shade out there. So again, this isn't meant to be all of the answers, but it's just providing a little bit of a snapshot and an idea of how we would approach as professional park designers and planners, how we would approach this and put some thoughts down on paper and start to open the dialogue and the discussion about the future of McElroy. So that's the last slide that I have for you. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I see you have here in the presentation, and we'll read on it a little bit more, the 2 pocket parks we have, Andronopolis and Beachcomber, very, very underutilized. do you want to give a high level of what could happen there?
Yeah, sentimental value on those as well. I worked for an engineering firm in Ormond Beach years and years ago when I actually designed McElroy and Beachcomber. So we visited those and multiple times, and what we found is that nobody's utilizing those park spaces. We met with one lady who was walking by. She was kind of interested in what we were doing. We were taking some notes, doing our thing, and she said, yeah, you know, she lives in one of the towers across the street, and she echoed what we were observing, that very rarely is anybody in those spaces. So we started thinking about, again, going back to the hard swings we were taking. The idea there is, and I know it's not perfect in talking with Kurt and staff, that it does have some hair on it about how it would happen, but if funding becomes an issue, one of the funding mechanisms that we talk about later in the book would be to potentially let go of those 2 parcels. Those are very small. I think they're the most they're ever going to be today, which is very underwhelming and underutilized. So I know it's probably a very unpopular opinion to remove park spaces from a park program and a parks master plan. But we do feel that all things considered, with McElroy being the focus and other facilities presenting some very low-hanging fruit for very high value, that Beachcomber and Andronopolis would probably be best served in the grand scheme of things to go a different route.
I wish Matt would have stayed a little bit more representing the county, but you know, depending on what's going to happen with the county parking situation, you know, that's up there. It's changing whatever it's doing. But I know they're looking for a lot of off-beach parking. So, oh, Matt's still there. We asked a question about, would you be interested in buying 2 beautiful parks?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, we'll talk later. But anyway, so that was one of the ideas that came up, that maybe more off-beach parking would be, you know, something that the county might look at. And both of those parks, if I'm not mistaken, do have parking next to them. So actual park and anywhere, probably from 20 to 30 parking spaces at each. So it might, 2 nice parking.
In great condition, I might add, with a stormwater infrastructure already placed. So yes, you're correct.
So that's something we could look at.
I would encourage you to do that, yes.
What other questions do we have?
Madam Mayor, I think I have a question.
Yes. This is Commissioner Economos on the line.
First of all, I'd like to thank Brett for an outstanding presentation, and the packet that you provided in the agenda was very well done, very detailed, answered a lot of questions. One of my main concerns is I understand that the master plan has already been budgeted for the 24-25 budget, and this may be addressed to Kurt. And I understand we're not obligated to undertake any of the recommendations, and some of them are very expensive. But are we under any financial obligation to Castle Bay as a retainer, or do we renew this every couple of years? How does that work, Kurt?
Kurt, did you get that question?
Yeah, we would have to do probably an RFP later if we wanted to do an update in, you know, 3 to 5 years. But also, Commissioner Economos mentioned, you know, we are not under any obligation by accepting the plan tonight to do any of these projects. They would all need to be budgeted and, you know, approved by commission at the time to do any of those projects.
So if we have the motion tonight to accept the proposed park and rec master plan, what does that look like? What are we approving if we do that?
And Madam Mayor, can I make one more comment
Sure.
as well? My other comment is, if, you know, there's been a lot of talk about the state doing away with property taxes. If they get their way, we're going to be hard pressed to come up with money to refurbish parks, you know, enhance them. And I understand it's been floated to maybe selling the 2 parks to Volusia County. I'm not, at this point, you know, I haven't really thought about it that much, but I don't know how, you know, if I really like the idea of making beach parking right there, that might increase the traffic in A1A right there. So there'd have to be a lot of discussion about that as well. So, but my big concern right now is if property taxes are done away with, where are we going to come up with a lot of this extra money to do this? So all I'm saying is I'm not against voting for this, but I think we should proceed with caution with anything that we do. I don't think we should make big plans at this point to refurbish any of these parks. I did see some lighting issues in the dog park. I'd be amenable to that because that is really a safety concern. But anything beyond that, at this point, I think we need to proceed with caution.
Okay, thank you. So Kurt, again, so if we do approve this evening, what are we approving?
Just the concept of improvements. So right now, there is no major park improvement budgeted in the 2025, 2026 budget year. So any project would need to be brought back before the commission conceptually, and then obviously would need to be added to the future year's budget.
Okay, so this is just approving the overall plan and then piece by piece by piece, because he mentioned several different things that could be done in different phases. So, all right. So I guess my second part of this is, so tonight if we approve this, there's no financial responsibility right now. Okay, just want to make sure of that. Okay, any other questions? That was a wonderful presentation, and again, I wish everybody would go online and look at this, because the documentation, the backup documentation, and the detail, looking it over again, were just fantastic. So thank you very much.
One last note I forgot to mention, but during the public engagement process, we had a first ever in our master plan development. The response rate that we received from residents was more than double our goal, which we've never seen before.
Wow,
Usually we
well,
set a
glad
goal,
to hear that.
we send out the mailers, and we've done them up to 4 times. So not only did we hit it on the first mailing, but we more than doubled it. So I just wanted to thank all of the residents for an overwhelming response and making it nice and easy for us. And it only ups the statistically valid portion of it even further than our goal was. So that was fantastic.
We have wonderful residents that are very, very committed to this and want to see this to be the best place to live, work, and vacation. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anything else you want to add?
I do want to add, the appendices were not included in this packet because it was another, how many pages?
About another 80 pages, 60
So,
pages.
if anybody would like to see them, we do have them, just for the record.
Okay, with that said, if there's no questions, do I hear a motion to approve this Park and Recs plan, or would you like to approve it with some changes? Do I hear a motion, please?
I'll move to approve it, and we'll see if we get a second, and I'd like to make a comment.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it. I also have some comments.
Thank you. All right, so Vice Mayor, let's start with your comments.
First of all, Brett, thank you so much for you and your company for a really detailed proposal. I like it. I like some things about it. We, as the fiscal responsibility for our residents, we have to see what we're going to do, how much it's going to cost, and then we can make budget items, and Director of Finance will get involved. So this is just approving this presentation. But the second thing I like is maybe doing things in phases with maybe a priority, kind of determined by us. But I love the concept, and it looks like it will improve the most utilized parts of the city and the parks. So I like it.
Thank you. Commissioner Economos, any other comments?
No, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Dubinsky?
Yeah, what I was fascinated when you stood up to start your presentation and you started talking about the input from citizens, because very often citizens don't get involved in stuff like this, but Daytona Beach Shores has always been a city where the citizens, they like the services that they get, and that's what our job is, to provide those services. That plan, that's gorgeous, and if we could ever make something like that happen, that would be a really good focal point. The other thing, you and I had spoken about the Performing Arts Center, and that would not necessarily ever have to be located in that park area. It could be anywhere, if the land was available. But I think you got some very good input from the citizens, and thank you very much.
Okay, and Commissioner Carr, do you have any comments?
I don't. Thank you, though, Brett.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, I believe. And so now if you could take a vote, Sherry. Okay, so that passed 5-0. Thank you. That might be me. Okay, I thank you very much again for coming and all the work you devoted, and everybody that when we came to the open house here at the community center, they were very, very open to answering our questions, so we appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to continued discussion on the city manager hiring process. So do you want to start us from the beginning, Vice Mayor? Or?
Sure. We have, I think everyone's got a copy of the really well-prepared brochure that asks for a resume and inquiry about the job and all the different things about our community and kind of the minimum qualifications and the compensation benefits. So this is a really well-prepared professional product, so whoever was involved, thank you. I'm working in conjunction with our city attorney. I want to do everything by the book and do everything so we can increase the likelihood of hiring the best candidate as city manager. That being said, we all approved this in the last meeting. It has gone out in advertisements, and we are now starting to receive resumes. And I think we have about 7 or 8 resumes from the last conversation I had with city staff. I'm not touching anything until I get authority from the city commission. So Attorney Vos had given me an outline of kind of a protocol of how you want to proceed. And it really is up to us as a commission how we want to do it. But my goal is to, we have time. So, you know, we still got time because we have till December within which to receive resumes. So we're not doing any interviews yet. We're not going to have the candidates meet with any directors of the city. They're not going to meet with me. They're not going to meet with you guys because we all have sunshine laws. So what I want to do is have a longer conversation, and I had a few criticisms that I want to go back and forth with Attorney Vos. So by the next meeting, I will have for you to look at a kind of a protocol, an outline of how we'll do it. Whether we'll have a little committee, whether it'll just be me, whether I'll filter the resumes or will I filter the resumes with the interim city manager, with the mayor, with the city commissioner. So I'll bring options, but I'll bring you information so you can make an intelligent decision about the process. But that's where we are now. So we're moving along.
Okay, one of the things I wanted to talk about, Vice Mayor, is I know I had a conversation with Mr. Basinger after the last thing, and then I was at a Florida League of Functions last year. This 90 days that we have seems extraordinarily long, and I want to go over a timeline to see, you know, why I mean that. So one of the reasons I think was given that, you know, there might be some city manager that maybe was let go with the change. But we have to remember this is a non-presidential year, so there's going to be very, very few elected officials on a board. So that's number one. And in 90 days, there was no one that I had talked to that had ever done 90 days before. So Susan Martin, can you weigh on that, you know, something like this, a position at this? And then I want to go backwards saying, you know, like our city manager gave us, and normally when you're at that high level, is it a 30 or 60 days that you give to where you're leaving? At the higher level you are, what we're looking for right now. So just first of all, answer the question, what is a normal? To me, coming from AT&T, the maximum we did as a job opening was 45 days. But you're the expert.
Yes, so thank you, Mayor. Typically, in a position, a high-level position like this, I would say 60 days to maybe 45 days would be a maximum amount that would kind of be standard and what you would look at.
Okay, all right, thank you. And is it a true statement, you know, probably when you're hiring somebody in Public Works, they might give their employer 2 to 4 weeks, but you're at a level that we're looking at for people to be applying for this position. Normally, they might have a contract that says you have to give 30 days, 60 days. Would you agree the higher up position is, the more you give?
Yes, that's correct. I would say that a minimum, we're going to be looking at a minimum of a 30-day submittal. potentially it could be more of a 60-day submittal once we've actually identified the person from what they are replacing.
So I was just, and I want everybody else's opinion, but I was looking at this, and I know our interim city manager is going to do a fantastic job. But, you know, my opinion is we want to get someone in, you know, learning the system as soon as we can. So if we're looking at a December 15th, as I was going back over this, we're really realistically not going to do anything to January. That's going to take, I think, a minimum of days. So I know the vice mayor is going to tell us how he feels about who he wants on his selection committee. So I think we're talking at least mid-February, and if we get somebody, you know, if we make an offer in February, you know, we're talking, I think realistically we're looking at April, and I don't think our intent was that we wanted to wait 6 months. So that's something, and that's open to discussion. One of the other things that I was looking at was the selection committee. So I think we need to determine, if not tonight, Vice Mayor, you know, who we would have on the selection committee. And I think we've talked about before, we definitely want our directors to be involved in making the decision, and I definitely want the citizens involved. But my idea of citizen involvement is, when we narrow it down to the 3, the 5, that we have an open house, that we have these candidates here and invite citizens in a very relaxing atmosphere to talk to these candidates and get their feedback. So that's a couple things I had on my mind. Does anyone else have anything else? Or?
Yeah, I've got a couple of comments. Sure. The interim city manager is willing, I know he spoke about this, he'll stay as long as it's necessary. Mm-hmm. I don't have any objections to cutting the time down, but no matter what, this is October. No matter what time we cut it down to, we're going to be into Thanksgiving, Christmas, the New Year. I don't see us being able to, whether it's 45 days, 60 days, or 90 days, being able to onboard anybody or even make an offer until the spring of next year. I don't see how that would even be possible, even if we said you got 2 weeks to apply now. There's just too much going on as far as the holiday season, and there's a lot of planning to do. And we don't even really know how we're going to interview. The only thing I know about this process is what I observed when I was the chief here. We had that process. Mm-hmm. And it takes time. There's a background investigation going to be involved, and Mike has agreed to stay as long as he's needed. So I don't see any advantage, I don't see any disadvantage to cutting it from 90 to 60 days or whatever, but I don't think it's going to cut our time frame down. That's just my opinion. If this was February or something, that'd be a different deal.
Okay. Which part of it, Commissioner, don't you think? So if we did a 60 days, and I think we posted this, was it September 15th? Okay. So that would take us into November 15th, you know, again, you know, a week or two. But at least, you know, we could start to the selection progress. I don't think we're going to do interviews until the first week in January, even if we had a November 15th. But if we have a December 15th, I mean, that's just going to push it 1 month over. I've talked to some candidates, and I know that they say they're in a position right now that they are in a place that they don't want public record requests. So they're somewhere right now that they know. And there was quite a few of them that said that to me. So no matter what we put the date is, I don't think we're going to get these applications till probably 7 to 10 days before this cutoff date. So, you know, I don't think we're going to get a lot in that we can even really start to interview some of the quality candidates. But, you know, I'm open to it. I'm always big on lessons learned and subject matter experts, and everyone that I'm talking to, 90 just seems too long. So I just want to bring that forward.
Like I said, if it was a different time of year, I totally agree. I just don't see the advantage. But that's up to the commission.
Commissioner?
If I may,
sure.
Following the commission's direction at the last meeting, it was advertised as a closing date of
December 15th.
December 15th. And in talking with staff, there was a concern that we've already put that out there and that's already been advertised. Perhaps the attorney could weigh in on us changing that after the process has begun.
I don't want to talk to City Attorney Vos about this, but I think it's within the city's discretion to amend a date after it's been posted. We don't know any of the candidates anything as of yet, but certainly I think that can be amended.
And I did have a conversation with her, and it would not be, we would have to, we're the ones that voted on it, so we would have to be the ones. And remember, though, the reason I'm bringing it up now, and if you remember, I did bring up at that time that I had concern, and we only had 3 members here, so I wanted to wait until we had the 5 here to make sure that everybody, has a vote on it. Again, just when Mr. Basinger came up to me afterwards, and it just raised a concern. So 2 things that would be, Nancy has had this beautiful post out here, so that's to your point too. It has the December 15th date on it. I think this would be a little bit of an expense to our city. I think we could easily change it online. If people are following that posting, they're gonna very much see that it's changed on there. But I just want to do what's best for this, and, I had hoped, that maybe we'd have someone at the end of January, beginning of February, and I don't think that's possible. City Manager, can I ask you, because I know you've gone through a process again, can you tell me, what would you think would be a natural timeline if we close this on December 15th? Go with the interviewing, the selection, and all that. Do you feel like it would be April?
It all depends, I think, on the applicant and what kind of time frame they would need to give. I do agree with an earlier comment. I just want to say that most city managers that have been around and understand Florida Sunshine are probably not going to put an application in, and probably till the week of December 10th through the 15th for that public record, because they are exposing themselves to that sunshine rule, and they may not want their city to find out right away if the process is stretched out. So I would expect at the very end of whatever time frame is chosen to get quality applicants. Not that we won't get any quality applicants ahead of time, but that you'll get a lot more applicants that last week.
Okay. So anyway, Commissioner Economos, do you have any opinion on this?
I don't, but I agree with Commissioner Dembinski about his concerns, but I'm okay. And are we going to talk about the membership pre-screening committee as well?
You mean the selection team?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So, Vice Mayor, what are your plans right now? Who will be on your selection committee?
We don't even, if you guys want me to have a selection committee, that's fine. And I think that, it would probably be good to have different personalities and different eyes on it. So it could be a fellow city commissioner, it could be you, it could be the interim city manager. I'm open. I don't mind participating with another person, and I'll make myself available for any time constraints. And also, just to answer your question, if you want to do this in 60 days and not 90, I'm fine with that too.
Okay. Well, I want to do what's best for the city, and I want to follow best practices that are out there. We have access to, so we have our HR manager here. We had someone here last week that was, that's his specialty. And I do have to say, too, when I was meeting, there was a mayor there from Sanibel Island. She said, I have somebody in Daytona Beach Shores that's great. And when she said the name, I said, yeah, he was at our last meeting. So I know he does bring a lot of expertise, that he even did Sanibel Island city manager. And, I'm just, again, I think I would have been a lot firmer last meeting had we had, everyone there. I didn't want to, with only 3 of us here last meeting, bring that up. So that's something we can absolutely vote on. My opinion is I would like to have at least one resident on that selection committee. A little bit, and about, were you thinking maybe having the city attorney on the selection committee, or no, you were just asking?
She could be, if she wants, she can
Okay.
appear by phone. Becky has given me an outline, and I reviewed it, and I had a couple of comments, but it has been one busy week for me, and so I want to have time to reach to her. So by the next city commission meeting, I will have an outline of what I propose, but in the interim, you know, I will take suggestions, or suggestions could be made to Becky, so we don't violate sunshine, and then she can take them, incorporate them in her modifications of her skeleton proposal that she's given me.
And Madam Mayor, I would not object to the recommendations by the Vos Law Firm. They had, I think their recommendations were Vice Mayor, City Finance Director, Community Development Director, HR Manager, and Acting City Manager. And I think that would be an adequate list for that. I think you probably should also talk to the City Attorney about having a citizen on there, because again, you know, there's going to be background checks. You're going to be dealing with very personal issues. So I wouldn't have an objection to that, but I think the City Attorney needs to weigh in on that for any potential legal consequences.
Okay. All right, so where are we?
So how about I make a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion to reduce the deadline to 60 days as opposed to 90.
Okay.
And then part of that motion is to have a selection committee comprised of the directors of the different departments, myself, Attorney Vos, or a member of her firm, and someone from the city, from the residents. So that way, you know, I think we cover all our bases.
And I don't know why in my mind, did Becky say she'd be, I know she's willing to assist us in this. I'm not sure the city attorney should be on the selection committee.
Okay. Then that's fine. We don't have to have her on there. I don't have a problem with that.
All right. So, and I agree with everything else. I would really like to have a citizen on there. So let's check with Becky for sure to see if there was, you know, a problem with that whatsoever. And I guess, so I'm going to say attorney, I guess right now. If there were, yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but Attorney Vos is available by phone if you'd like to reach her now.
Okay.
Or to dial in to advise on that. Otherwise, I'm sure she'd be happy to.
Okay, I think we can check with her later on. I don't know if it's necessary tonight. I know she's out. So when you're going over the selection committee, you know, and again, you know, I haven't done anything like this before. Would a background check come in? Are we going to do background checks on everyone, or when we narrow it down? So on a selection committee, would a residents have to know the background?
I think everyone's going to know the background because it's all going to be public record. So, I mean, I think that the background should come to the final four, the final five.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm going to write a resume, and we're going to read all these resumes. I think if they had a felony on there, it's not going to appear on there until we do a background check. So we will all be able to see this resume, everything that you've done, but the background check to see if you have any felonies or misdemeanors would not come until we narrow it down. Susan, can you help me on that? Is that normal?
Yeah, that's what we would want to do. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Yeah, the initial selection, we'd go through, look at the information, you know, do they meet the initial requirements that we put out?
Yes.
Did they submit the documentation that we requested be submitted for each application to be, you know, considered? And then we would look at, you know, what is their experience and kind of weed people out from that standpoint. Whatever number that is arise that we say, okay, we're going to get it down to 4 or 5, that's when you would start to look at, okay, dig deeper, what is the background? What do they actually have, checking references and are they the criminal and all that piece then? You wouldn't want to do it on everyone.
Right, okay. So help me with the selection to Commissioner Conomus's point. If we had a resident on this selection committee and they're part of the selection that said, here I'm narrowing down to these 4 people, that wouldn't really be a violation, would it? Because then those 4 people that we have left, where does it go? And maybe Vice Mayor, you can help me after that. So we have this selection committee that narrowed it down to 4, but remember, we all have to look at every single, you know, one of these. So when we narrow it down to 4, is that is decision for, the final decision is for us up here, is that correct?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. So I don't see, am I missing something on the background check? I want to address Commissioner Conovus's concern. And Chris, unless you can, maybe, well, our chief's going to say something about that I'm,
According to the
clarification.
ICMA guidelines and their recommendations, like Susan said, you would just do a general background check, Google and a criminal history check on.
That anybody can do from their computer.
Correct. When commission narrows it down to 1 or 2 people, that is when we would suggest, and ICMA suggests, that you actually do a thorough deep dive into their background, their personal relationships, their professional relationships, and I would recommend that it be done in person at their current and past employers.
Okay, thank you. Chris, yes, I'm sorry.
One thing that I just want to get kind of straight in my mind, Becky Vos told us under all circumstances, we have to be provided every resume that is submitted, whether they've met the minimum qualifications or a selection committee has decided on 4 people or 5 people, whatever it is. But we have to look at, we have to
review, yes.
So one thing that I'd like Vice Mayor to remember is that they might have, a selection committee might have a list of 4, 5, 10 people. I, as a commissioner, might have some other people that I think are more qualified or as qualified or whatever it may be. And we are the ones who are hiring this manager.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
It's not the department heads, it's not the citizens. That's our job.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I'm going to have access to 50, 75 resumes, and that I'm going to be able to read them all. I've done this before.
Yeah.
It's not all that complicated, but I want to have an opportunity rather than having 4 names presented to me.
And to your point,
Nothing
that's
against the
exact-
Vice Mayor, he's going to do a great job.
That's exactly what I said last time too. Maybe number 8 or number 10, I might say, that looks good to me. I want that one included, where you might do the same thing. And Attorney, I think you had something to say to us?
Yes, Mayor, just for the sake of clarity, Attorney Vos is both available and actually watching the meeting. So
Okay, great.
it would not inconvenience her at all. I just wanted to.
All right, thank you, Becky. So anyway, so we have the motion to go to the 60 days. Do we want to include something else in that motion on the selection committee, or do we want to hold that for next
For the next meeting, how's that? So we have, all of us, time to think about what we discussed, and I'll have a proposal for you to consider that will come from the city attorney. So let me do this. Let me withdraw my previous motion. Let me go ahead and author a new one. I'll make a motion to reduce the deadline date from 90 days to 60 days.
Okay.
And allow the city to advertise it accordingly. That's my motion.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion on that? So for this evening, that is the only thing we'll work on. Nancy, I'm so sorry, on this. And Susan, I'm sure you can update yours a lot more easily than Nancy can on this, but appreciate that. Becky, so the Vice Mayor is going to be getting with you on Commissioner Conomos's concern about having a citizen on there. Just to let you know, I think it's very, very important that we do have at least one citizen on there, so I'm hoping that that's not an issue. And the Vice Mayor will talk to you about that. So we have a motion and a second. Sherry, can you take a vote on that, please? Okay, and that passed 5-0, so we got that taken care of. What, any other discussion that we want to talk about on this city manager? Vice Mayor, thank you for all the time and effort you've put into this. Nancy, it was this Ashley that did some of these graphics. Tell her it's just beautiful. It represents the shore so well. We love it. So, anything else on the discussion on the hiring process? Okay, if not, we'll move on. So, City Attorney, do you have anything for us this evening?
Nothing else, just a quick clarification from Becky on the last point that the Commissioner made with respect to you all reviewing every single agreement that comes to the city in the process. If the committee is open to the sunshine, if it's an open group, then that requirement doesn't necessarily have to be fulfilled. The Commission does not have to review every single agreement.
You mean every resume?
Every resume.
Okay.
However, if it's out of the sunshine, that would be.
Okay, now explain that to me one more time. Okay, so all these resumes come in and we get 50 as a total. Explain it to me from there, I'm sorry.
The requirement that the commissioner brought up, according to Becky here, not every resume would need to be furnished to the commission if the selection committee is an open, it's open to the sunshine.
Good. Okay, thank you for that. All right, city manager, what do you have for us this evening?
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're now going to go on to commissioner comments. Vice Mayor, what do you have this evening?
Nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Economos?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dubinsky, anything else?
Just one thing, I'm going to ask to be excused from the next commission meeting. I'll be out of the country on, I think it's the 8th of October. So if I could be excused, it's not an emergency, but I'll be traveling.
Okay, thank you. And should we vote on that this evening, attorney, on this excuse? Do we need to vote on that?
If it's the pleasure of the commission, sure.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So let's take a vote on excusing Commissioner Dubinsky, please, for the meeting. Is it October 7th or 8th? Sherry, is it 7th?
October 7th.
Okay. Do we have to have a motion first, attorney, or just take a vote like a consensus motion?
I think a motion would be
Okay, all right. Commissioner Card, can you make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. And do you want to specify it? So
That we will excuse Commissioner Dubinsky for the next commission meeting.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor?
I'm checking my calendar. Oh, yeah, sure, of course I'll second it, yes.
We need
I wasn't on the phone, I was checking my
that's
calendar.
okay. Sure, can you take a vote now, please?
Do I vote?
Yes.
Personal staking.
Okay, and it passed 5-0, so Commissioner, you are excused for the next meeting. Thank you. Commissioner Card, do you have any?
I don't.
Okay, all right. And I just want to go over some of the things that are coming up in the city that our Community Engagement Director always gives me. I want to tell you, first of all, that we had our Mayor's Fitness kickoff today. I think she said there's close to 50 that signed up, but we probably had 30 or 35 there today.
We actually have 61 now.
Wow, 61 signed up, and they're committed, and they're ready, and they're excited. So Mark and Jen, we're going to be doing pickleball. Lori, you can join us too. Oh, well, I don't know, you're not part of it, but we'll arrange it. Okay, so first of all, this Friday, September 26th, from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Shores Pavilion, there's going to be a free concert. There was a change of who our entertainment will be provided by. That's Bone Daddy. Bring a chair. And then again, I talked about the fitness challenge. We had the kickoff today, and it's actually going to start next Monday, the 29th. Our next coffee with the mayor will be on Wednesday, October 8th at 10 o'clock a.m., and that will be featuring special guest Jake Johansson. He's the Volusia County Council member at large, and Jake and I are also co-chairs of the Stormwater Mitigation Committee for the county, so I'm sure he'll touch on that as well. And then, happy but sad, I say this all the time, our farewell reception for our city manager, Kurt Swartzlander, will be on Thursday, October 9th from 3 to 5. We're gonna have some light refreshments. Please come by and say, bid farewell to him on that day and extend your well wishes to Kurt. So that's all that we have for city commission comments. I don't have any audience comments, but as always, is there anyone that wishes to speak that didn't sign up? Okay, seeing none, any additional items for the next agenda? Okay.